Okay, let's get up to date with the coronavirus. Here in the US, we are now up to a little bit more than 1,700 cases. Obviously, if you've been tracking this since the beginning of the week, that represents something like an 80% increase, something like that. We are getting a couple of hundred new cases every day. That works out to pretty frequently, every few minutes we're getting a new case of coronavirus. I think it's very important to acknowledge though, that because the single biggest issue with our response to coronavirus has been the lack of access to testing kits and the fact that many people who believe that they might have it are simply not able to be tested. That number really doesn't represent much. I don't know, Brett, what we're supposed to take away from that.
I think the things we're supposed to take away from that are exactly what you said. We have not carried out nearly as many tests per capita as other countries who are further along in this, and they have a better idea of where it's going and where it's headed. So, and where they are with it. That's what's so scary about it. However, I think everyone from the CDC to, I was watching, network morning news television this morning. They were sharing the ways you should be behaving as this goes on. And I think really like knowing how bad it is should not change what you're doing to prevent yourself from being exposed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When we give those counts,
away than this
that's
from
true.
Other people.
Happy half hour is even closer, so that's the fear. Yes, we give you the numbers because I want you to have the information, but you should be doing the same things. If you believe that you're sick, don't expose yourself to other people, don't go to work, that sort of thing. The whole self-quarantine thing, which we'll return to, washing your hands and all of that. But people in positions of power are taking this more seriously. And I want to give you an updated list of closures. Everything is closed. So really fast, in Maryland, public schools are closed until March 27th. New Mexico, they're closed for the next 3 weeks. Oregon's are offline until the end of March. By the way, that ... represents, it's basically everywhere. I'm just not gonna list all of them. Some places are limiting large gatherings. New York City, gatherings of 500 or more are suspended. Broadway, for example, has gone dark. Sports are basically canceled. NHL, NBA, MLB is postponing its season. All college sports too. And by the way, if you elderly weren't worried about this, well, the Masters has been postponed.
Yours, man.
I'm kidding. I know
I
that you like
watched the
golf.
hell out of the Masters.
I know. So does Trump. This might make him take it seriously. So
that's one I don't understand. By the way, like bans. What?
At the Masters, aren't there crowds?
Yeah, but ban the crowds from the Masters.
Yeah, but you could do that for MLB and.
Yeah,
they don't want the events to not have the crowds that they need.
But there's a difference, however. There's a difference though. I think the Masters you could do because there's still locker rooms for, I guess for golf, but like just don't use them.
I think it's also a thing of with the Masters, they're going to be flying in from all around the world, won't they? It necessitates more travel. And it's not just the athletes, it's also their support personnel. Maybe you could think about another person for 1 second.
John, I'm just saying, I'm just seeing all this information now.
I am too, so. Yeah, even though it's been available. Yes, now, and by the way, it's always, I understand that they have to draw a line, but like in New York, they're saying you can't have a gathering of 500 people or more. It's like 480 is cool. I don't know, that's always weird. I know that's just the way.
I haven't been to New York that much, but I have been to like the ABC News studios in New York. And my God, what a hive for infestation. Everything's really tight, the offices are really tight, everyone's literally on top of each other. And there is no way that like in the winter in New York City, you're going to get away from 50 people. You're gonna see 50 people at all times.
Exactly, yeah. And look, I saw like late night shows had canceled their audiences. Now they're just canceled. They're just not doing Fallon or whatever.
True.
One thing that apparently is going on, although expect this to change, because like I saw yesterday that Disney got like a special exemption to stay open from the state of California. Yeah. And then like everyone was like, that's insane, you monsters. And then like 10 minutes later, Disney was like, yeah, you're right, no, we're actually gonna be closing down.
The narrative that came out of it was Bob Iger just pulled Newsom aside and was like, let me. Yeah. And I saw an amazing tweet about that was like, it's as though Bob Iger convinced Gavin Newsom that he had Vatican City level independence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Pope, Mickey Mouse was like, no, we're staying open.
And then I'm assuming either one of the lawyers or one of the VPs was like, hey, by the way, maybe we shouldn't position ourselves as the main remaining vector for the spread of this thing.
Especially after the measles outbreak that everybody traced back to Disneyland.
Really? I didn't remember that. One thing that as of now, I believe is still going forward would be UFC, because Trump apparently convinced the CEO to continue public events despite the coronavirus warnings. Now that could be incorrect, but if it's incorrect, it's the CEO of UFC who is spreading that information. So as of right now, you'll still be able to get the virus at a UFC event thanks to Trump?
I saw I don't know if it was UFC, but there was one MMA group that was suspending activities. And then the XFL.
I think it'll happen.
The XFL, everyone's like, at least there's still XFL. Vince McMahon's cool with it. And then
they canceled.
Word came out and you just saw all the remaining.
WWE, I assume, would then be shut down as well, I would imagine. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.